First and foremost, just want to give glory to God and Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, and so that's first and foremost. And then I want to thank my wife, Jenna, for being by my side throughout all of this and um, being an amazing wife. My family just had my back and just growing up and them believing in me from the jump. And then just want to thank my agent, Kyle, just throughout this whole process and doing an amazing job. Thank you, Kyle. And obviously I want to thank the Niners, Jed York, the whole York family, Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, Prague, Brian Hampton, all those guys, man. They did an amazing job, and for them to have my back and believe in me to lead this franchise and organization, man, I really appreciate them all. So with that being said, let's go.
Moment the last few days, have you taken some time to just reflect on your journey from unrecruited high school player even before that to where you are now, and what has it been like?
Yeah, I definitely have done some reflecting and just the process of all of it, not trying to be somebody that I'm not and rush the process of being a football player and getting better. Obviously my recruiting process was late, third string quarterback going into my freshman year, then getting thrown into the starting role, getting drafted last, making the team, being a backup the whole season, then week 13 getting thrown in and then leading the Niners from that moment on. So there's just been a process to this whole thing in life, and that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around is, as a kid, obviously you see all these guys on TV, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, and you want to be that one day. And for me, what I've realized, it just doesn't happen overnight. Like, you got to go through good, bad, tough times, the hard workouts, all the things to get there, and how you respond to adversity and all the things. But man, am I grateful to be able to just stay the course. And this is just my story. I haven't tried to live out anybody else's story. It's just been where God has had me, and I've been all in on it, and extremely grateful to be in this position. And just it fires me up more than anything to want to continue to get better and help this organization win. And nothing is set in stone yet in terms of how we are or as a team or this year or the future going forward. It's every single day I have to come in and be present and work to earn success and just do my part for this team. So I'm excited.
Back in January that you'd love to get it done by phase one of the off-season program. Didn't quite happen, but it's ahead of OTAs. How important was that for you, and were you pushing for that to happen so that you didn't have to have this hanging over you during the spring practices?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I was hopeful to get something done early, and it had been nice to have it done going into the off-season program as a whole. But obviously there's just a process to it, and both sides have their views, and that's the whole point of negotiating. And but at the end of the day, I didn't want to lose sight of the main goal here, knowing that I'm going to be the quarterback for this team this year, and I have to come in and get better and grow our locker room and help the new guys. And I just wanted to be here from the jump and be the guy in there to continue to lead this place. And obviously we have to get better in areas, and I have to get better and all the things. But being here day one was a huge emphasis for me, regardless of having the contract done or not. But I had a lot of faith in, obviously, my agent and the Niners that we were going to get something done. Didn't know when exactly, but being here for phase one was huge for me.
When we last talked to you about 4 months ago, you were going to take a month off from throwing the football, give your arm and shoulder some time to rest. I assume you did that since you're throwing now, but how's your health? And then, I mean, if you go back 2 years, you weren't even starting your throwing program yet. Does this kind of blow you away that you've come this far in the 2 years since that time, whether you knew where your career was headed?
Yeah, to answer your first part, my body feels great. Feel really healthy and 100%. And so it's just finding ways to get better. Obviously just with the new guys and running routes and watching the film and applying that to the field with the ways that we can right now. And then, yeah, just 2 years ago, obviously coming off of surgery, I didn't have OTAs, and even camp for me was 2 days on, 1 day off, so I was missing a day. And so just being grateful that I'm out there and actually getting better and throwing and having an off season to work on fundamentals has been huge. And obviously I said that last year, but this year, we didn't make the playoffs and we had some time away to actually decompress and think about, how the season went and actually do some real reflection. The year before, Super Bowl, and got married, and it just went so fast, and boom, we right into the next season. But man, was I itching to come back and just excited to get back with the guys, and just the energy and all the guys' mindset now coming back, man. The locker room, the workouts, in the weight room, the film room, you name it. Like there's a new kind of like re-energized feeling around the facility. So yeah, it's an exciting time. So.
How involved were you with the process, and are there any terms or specific things that you felt strongly about that needed to be in that negotiation?
I mean, obviously my agent did the negotiating, but would just keep me updated, throughout the week, and certain big moments and conversations that were had with the Niners, and then he would just call me and update me, and we both, before the whole thing started, sat down and we were like, all right, this is our vision. This is hopefully what we can get out of it and get what you deserve and have earned, and go from there. But obviously we want to, make sure that we're working together with our organization and setting up everybody for success. It's not just for me to get all the money as much as I can, but also like, hey, let's surround yourself with a great team and players and a great locker room, and all those things matter. So we definitely talked about that. And then, like I said, he would just update me periodically, but there were some things that we wanted in there to protect me down the road and whatnot, in the contract and the language and all that stuff. But he did an amazing job with handling that and then breaking it down to me, like what it is, what it means, and what we need to get, what we can give up, all that kind of stuff. That's just negotiating. And so, like I said, he did an amazing job, and I'm very proud of him.
What is the balance that you feel that you say is different? Is it a stark contrast to last season where there was some contract drama up and down, and now you've got not only your contract done, but George and Fred? Does that kind of settle everything?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every year there sort of has been someone that it's like, man, you'd like to get them done, and it's gone on pretty late. And whether that has affected the locker room or not, I'm not really sure. I don't want to just pinpoint something, but this year, having the guys done and being able to get back to work and be around the guys in the locker room and just like build our culture and standard really from the ground up with all the new guys that we have. It's been pretty cool. And everybody's bought in right now, and we're excited, obviously, to do like more team activities and stuff as we move along the off season. But man, it's hard to explain. But the young guys, the older guys, everybody is bringing it right now, and I think it's just so important that we're just around each other a lot, doing little different activities and continuing to build chemistry. Like that's the kind of stuff that matters, man. When you get late in the season and things get tough, and you go through some tough things as a team, like. You want to be able to know the guy next to you and what he's about, and that he's going to have your back and everything like that. So anyways, having the contract stuff done, it's been a huge blessing for the whole team and organization.
You wanted to set everyone up for flexibility. Do you mean you maybe left something on the table in an effort to help roster construction going forward?
I think where we ended up was exactly where we needed to be. I'm extremely happy with where we ended, and I know the Niners are too. And with that being said, man, like for me, it's all about football now, and however, obviously they use the cap space and all that kind of stuff. Like that's not my job. My job is to now go and win games and lead this team. And but I'm extremely happy and grateful for where we ended with, and hopefully that answers your question.
Was the no trade clause important to you that it was in there?
I think it's important, yes, but also it's something that my agent and I discussed with what other quarterbacks have around the league and stuff in their contract. But for me, was it going to be a determining factor in signing it or not? No. Like we're very grateful that we had it in there, but at the end of the day, like I said, everything else that the contract entails, we're extremely excited about, and so we're just grateful how it turned out.
What sort of advice did you get from the guys in the building that have gone through this, specifically with George and Fred, and does it help at all to go through this at the same time they're going through it again?
A little bit, yeah. I think they did a great job, just giving me a heads up, like, hey man, this is how negotiating is, and obviously it's a business, but this is sort of what you can expect. This is, what we experienced and went through, and don't hang your head on this or that. Like, they did a great job with, giving me some real good advice going into it. Same with Bosa and all those guys. And and then obviously they're going through an extension at the same time, and everybody's contract and situation is different. We're not all in the same exact boat, but just when it comes to the negotiating, you want to get a deal done. You want to have that stress off your shoulders and just focus on football. So I think we were all able to relate in that way. But yeah, man, those guys definitely looked out for me and gave me a heads up.
Every contract's different, Brock. So what did you learn about the situation, the business, the team, yourself?
Yeah, I think, man, I just love playing football. I love getting around the guys in the locker room, and that's what I want to make the main thing. And so something that I learned throughout the process is, hey, man, like, how can I, even though we're going through this business side of things, how can I still be present in the locker room and love on these guys and build trust and character within the whole organization, even though this contract negotiation thing is going on. I didn't want to lose who I was throughout all the process. I feel like you've seen stories and things around the league at times where people can act uncharacteristically and because they might be hearing some things. But for me, what I've learned is it is a business, but that doesn't mean I have to change. I can continue to be who I am and stay true to that and have faith that it'll get done.
Mark, there's an idea that you're such a nice guy and been paid relatively little, and that you're so nice that you weren't going to, drag these things out and everything. I mean, is there any element of that? Because at the same time, this is your market, you've earned this. I guess, was there a balance between, hey, I don't want to make this difficult, but I also want to, get what I deserve?
Yeah, man, I have so much respect for everybody in this organization from the top down, and so I think they know who I am and what I'm about. And I don't know if there was a narrative of Brock's gonna take a pay cut because he's a nice guy or this or that, but for me, it's, man, I play in the NFL. There's 32 starting quarterbacks, and those guys, like, it's not the easiest job in the world. And for me, with what I've done and everything, I could hang my hat on the fact that I've had success in this league, and I'm capable of leading an organization all the way to the end, the Super Bowl. I've proved that. And so for me, it's, I know who I am, and I'm gonna obviously want to get what I deserve, but also surround myself, like I said, with guys around me and not just try to take every penny for myself. But that's the whole point of negotiating. You go throughout that, you try to meet in a middle ground, and where we ended, man, I'm extremely grateful and happy with. So, yeah.
This offseason started with 6 or 7 starters leaving and not a lot coming in. And meanwhile, you got your own negotiations. What were you thinking during that period? Were you communicating with 49ers always saying, we're going to get to you, this is not across the board cutting? What was the kind of the messaging back and forth then?
I mean, they all, like, called my agent, and we're definitely talking pretty early. And so for me, I knew that they know and think that I was a priority at the time, even though there was a lot of changes and turnover happening within the organization and players. So I knew that they were thinking about me and that they were talking to my agent and stuff. But like I said, with the timing of how these contracts and things happen, they don't just happen overnight. Like, there's a process to it. And I was just where I was at with my life, being with my wife and training and not trying to get consumed with, I need to get this done by next week or the week after. My mindset was it could take however long it takes, but I need to get better this offseason. And obviously I was finding out, just like everybody else, with my teammates leaving and going to other teams and places, and I was extremely happy for them getting paid and all that kind of stuff. But I also understand that, man, that's the nature of the sport. It's a business, and players go to different places and stuff, and you got to bring in new guys and build up a new culture and team, and that's part of it. But I didn't get consumed by it. Obviously it does, suck when you build up this brotherhood, and Dre Greenlaw was my locker room partner, and right next to me, and then now he's gone, and it's like, man, that stinks. But it's part of the game. So I'm still trying to comprehend it a little bit. So.
And John mentioned, you mentioned earlier that you had big up and down moments throughout the negotiation, being prepared for those. What were 1 or 2 moments along the way that maybe helped you believe it was getting done, or even maybe the opposite way, that it was going to take a while?
Yeah, I think, there was just it was just an open communication from the get-go. I think I always had faith that, all right, they started with a very respectable first offer, and from there the communication between them and my agent was great, and they talked a lot, and there was no drama involved, and so for me, I think all those moments added up to be like, for me, I just had faith that it was going to get done, and that these guys had my back, and that they want to get something done relatively quick and smooth and all that. But and then obviously last week we knew that we were at the number, and we just had to get a couple things figured out within the language of the contract, and that it was going to be a go. And I just didn't know what day that was going to be or whatnot. And sure enough, we were golfing. My wife and I were golfing at the Olympic Club with Jake Brendel and his wife, and we got a text from my agent saying it's done, and answered John Lynch's FaceTime. And so, yes, it was the late course, yeah. So.
Asked about the progress with this deal, and he said there's no guarantee that it would get done. When you heard that, did that surprise you? How did you take that?
I mean, it's the truth. You never know with how negotiations go, if something's going to be said in a certain way that makes the other party, a little bit frustrated or whatnot. And so it's just the truth. And that's, I didn't take any offense to it at all. Obviously for me, it was, where am I at in the off season? How can I get better? And, things are always going to be said in the media that may come off in a certain way, whether it's true or not. And so I didn't buy into every single thing that people were trying to make it to be. And so obviously I knew like what was real and what was happening behind closed doors, because my agent and I were literally talking to them and stuff. So it's all good.
Yeah, you've had a great offseason, and that you really have embraced things and you want to be coached hard. You really want to get better. Is there something looking back at last year that you can point to that you specifically this offseason are trying to improve at?
Yeah, I think, man, just fundamentals in general. And I know it sounds, cheesy or whatnot, but just watching the film and stuff, like my footwork and being on point and not getting too comfortable within a situation or game. I actually have gone back and watched a lot of my rookie tape, and when I first got in, how I was on it, and all I knew was what they coached me, my footwork, and where my eyes need to be. And so sort of syncing back to those fundamentals and applying that to OTAs and the field work every single day, and having that fire in me every single rep. And so it's been pretty cool. And then obviously just being around the young guys, man, and them coming in and not knowing a whole lot, like seeing like, hey, this is how the coaches teach it and it works. You got to trust that and go all in on that. So, yeah, the fundamentals.
It was the elbow, and last season getting past the Super Bowl, and then this season the contract. You kind of feel personally, professionally, just a sense of kind of calm and being settled into where you need to be.
Yeah, I think that's just something that I've learned in the NFL. Man, there's always going to be something that you're going to be going through or facing, and it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be easy. But I know who I am. Like I've said to you guys a million times, like with my faith, and it's bigger than football. But I think knowing that has allowed me to handle all the things that come my way, whether it's a surgery or a contract or losing a big game. I know who I am, and it just fires me up to go and defy the odds after that. And so, yeah, it's just part of it.
Is there something fun or special that you thought, hey, when I signed this, I'm going to buy this for my wife, my parents, even yourself? Like, is there a big purchase or something? Maybe it's something small that now you can actually go get.
Man, we're still thinking about some stuff, but I don't know. I've always been a big fishing advocate, so I was telling my wife, and she's annoyed with me, but I'll say it. But I'd like to get a bass boat one day. So, yeah, that'll be my first big purchase.